Under the Weather is a channel built around the Scottish outdoors. James hikes, wild camps, and treks through some of the most remote parts of Scotland, filming what it actually looks and feels like to be out there, not the polished version, the real one. In this particular video, the real version turned out to be something he wasn't prepared for. He'd set out in search of the Marston Stones, standing stones near Stirling, believed to be around 5,000 years old, placed there long before most of recorded history. James had tried to find them before and failed each time.
Welcome back. On our way to find some 5,000-year-old standing stones. They were placed there by Druids many moons ago. I've tried to find this place a few times and I got lost every single time. So let's hope have a better chance today. I think you need to cross the river. That's just what I've been told. Cross the river, then take a right and a right again. And we'll see how we get on. Onward, Christian soldier.
The hike itself was stunning, the kind of landscape that makes the effort worthwhile before you've even reached the destination. Finding the stones turned out to be harder than expected, but he got there. And once he did, he started looking for somewhere to make camp for the night. He found a small spot tucked between trees near the stones, sheltered, quiet, and seemingly ideal.
Look at that. What is this? A perfect space for a tent, isn't it? Where am I going to have my fire though? I want the fire near the tent. Or maybe have the... Yeah, I think I'm just going to set up right here with the fire here as well. Yeah, sounds like a plan.
As dark came in, he got a fire going and settled beside it. The night felt calm, easy even. And then, breaking the silence from somewhere above the trees, a helicopter, flying low, circling.
You can hear the helicopter. It's been flying over quite a bit, and I just hope that they aren't looking for someone and I've got a fire going and I kind of get rescued, if you know what I mean, because I don't need rescued yet. Looks like the fat is starting to come out of the chicken, which is setting the fire alight. All good news. Helicopter is still there. It's a bit ominous if you ask me. Wow. Please go away. There it is. You see him flying over ahead.
It wasn't passing through. It was moving in a deliberate pattern, a searchlight sweeping the forest below. That kind of behavior means one of two things. Either the fire had drawn attention, or someone was being looked for out there. James stayed, a little unnerved, but not enough to pack up and leave. He kept the fire going, kept the camera rolling, and then, from somewhere behind the tree line, a sound, close, unexplained, the kind of sound that makes you stop whatever you're doing and just listen. He stood up and called out into the dark. Nothing answered back. For a moment, leaving crossed his mind, but heading out through that forest at night without a clear path presented its own risks. He decided to stay, keeping close to the firelight. Eventually, he got into the tent and fell asleep.
There is water round about, obviously, but I don't know if it's quite treacherous. You saw what the ground is like. So I think I'm going to have the chicken wings without the mashed potato. What the hell is that? Hello? Hope it's not one of those nights. I got a plate.
He woke up to sounds outside the tent, something moving, close enough that the camera picked up his reaction, the quiet refusal to believe what he was hearing, repeated over and over, almost like a prayer. He called out, listened, eventually convinced himself it might be road noise carrying in from somewhere distant. He turned the camera off and tried to sleep again.
Nope, 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 nope. Nope, 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 nope. Nope, 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 nope. Shit. I just heard laughing there. Or something. No way. Hello? Hello? I think that's a road in the distance, maybe. Yeah, it can't be. It can't be. Right. Well, I can't hear anything, so let's turn this off. Right. Good night.
Morning came with no further incident. He made breakfast, took his time, started thinking about packing up, and then, looking around the spot he'd been sleeping in, he saw it.
That's the spot. Well, one thing I didn't really check last night was tree fall. And look at that, those two big bad boys behind me. There's just fallen trees everywhere, but the wind's not being as bad as it has been in recent weeks. Oh. But everywhere you look, there's fallen trees. Ooh, yum, yum, yum. Fed and watered, I think that's almost time for me. I'm going to finish up here and then start packing up and make it. What the hell? What is that? What the hell is it? Oh. Tangled in the trees. What the fuck is that? That is a fucking pentagram.
Something hanging above him, a pentagram. It hadn't been there when he set up camp. He'd checked that spot. He was certain of it, which meant someone had been there during the night while he was asleep inside that tent, close enough to hang something directly above where he was lying without waking him. He left immediately, and now the helicopter takes on a different weight. Was it investigating the fire, routine airspace activity, or was it out there searching for someone? Someone in that forest, moving through the dark, watching a solo camper sleep beside the stones. James may have been within reach of that person all night without knowing it. The sounds outside the tent, the unexplained noise by the fire, the symbol placed with deliberate precision. None of it was ever explained. No one came forward. No one was identified. He made it out. But looking back at the sequence of that night, the helicopter, the sounds, the thing hanging above his head in the morning, it's difficult to read it as anything other than what it felt like. He wasn't alone out there, and whatever was with him, it was paying very close attention. Moxley's Paranormal World follows Moxley and his friend Lai as they investigate locations most people wouldn't set foot in after dark. Tonight, it's an abandoned military base, opened in 1919. Soldiers died here during training. Bombs were planted inside the buildings at some point during its history, and as recently as 2008, alien sightings were being reported on the grounds. Lai has visited this base before. Every single time she has been forced to leave early. Tonight she came back, this time with Moxley beside her, and something on this property has already heard them arrive.
So tonight, Coming out to this old abandoned military base. This place has got a lot of history of paranormal activity, even alien sightings dating back to 2008. But my main one here is what Lottie's witnessed in the past. I think she's had to leave this place in a hurry in the past as well, because it's just that sinister. So yeah, with that, let's get in here. Let's go on a ghost hunt to see who or what is here haunting this abandoned military base.
Every previous visit Lai has made to this base, she has heard the same thing, a woman screaming. Tonight is her third time here, and this time, Moxley hears it too.
Oh, change of subject. Here. Mate.
That was a scream.
That was a scream.
That is the third time I've been here. That is not a coincidence.
Hello? Right, that wasn't a fox. That wasn't any animal scream, that.
No.
That felt like a woman scream.
That's what I've heard. That's the third time I've heard that. How do you explain that? And what were the chances of me being here and every time, apart from once, I've heard, if it was an animal, why would the same animal every time I'm here? What are the chances of that?
Yeah. Be very, very, very slim, mate.
That's what I mean.
They're standing inside the first building, talking through the history of the land when it happens again. Moxley goes completely still. Lai doesn't hesitate. She says it immediately. That is the third time she has heard that exact sound in that exact location. Then both of their devices produce the same word at the same time, without either of them asking a question.
Did we hear you screaming not too long ago?
Abandon. The devil is real.
The devil is real.
It's real.
Why would the... Unholy.
Unholy.
The devil is real, unholy. Okay. When I was here, it literally come through and it said, Jesus is a see you next Tuesday. Clear as day.
The spirit talker has barely been switched on when the first words come through. Devil is real, then unholy. And at that moment, a bell rings on the dead bell. Neither of them is anywhere near it. Both devices, the same language, the same moment, inside a building on a military base that has been abandoned for decades. Whatever is present on this land has been here a very long time, and it is not making any effort to hide itself. They are finally approaching the most active building on the site, when a full woman's scream cuts through the dark and stops them both where they stand.
Mate, that was somebody screaming.
For hell.
Are you recording?
I'll be honest with you, I don't think I got it.
I stopped recording because we were just getting ready to do a spirit box session. That was a scream like...
For hell, was it?
That come from down there. Have you ever been down that side?
Yeah, there's nothing there.
That was a full-on freaking scream. There's nothing to say to that. That was... Somebody screamed.
You can believe us or not believe us, or...
I can't believe I just turned the camera off.
Literally, I was just about to get the spirit box out to ask, give us a sign if you want us to go over there, and it was like... screaming for help. Like, help. Like,
that was...
to me,
yeah.
it's like a woman in pain screaming for help.
They are outside the most sinister building on the property, preparing to go inside when it comes. A scream, sustained, 3 to 4 full seconds. A woman's voice, somewhere out in the dark, screaming for help, not a short burst, not an animal sound. A woman, in pain, screaming for help. They make their way to the crossroads, and that's when something begins moving on the concrete beside them. Heavy, rhythmic, like boots on a hard surface, like something marching, and then it touches Lai.
Just ground ourselves.
Yeah.
Because if potentially there is something sinister waiting in... I know it sounds wild, in that building.
Yeah.
Yeah, there. Did you hear this?
That sounds like... Stomp, stomp, stomp.
They are standing at the crossroads when the sound begins. Heavy footsteps on concrete, loud enough that both of them hear it clearly, at the same time, in the same direction. There is nothing visible on that path. It is past midnight, the base is empty, and something is marching on the concrete right beside them.
Someone just touched my leg, someone just touched my leg, someone just touched the back of, like, grabbed him at the back of my leg. What is that?
Mate, there's somebody stomping around on the ground here. There's no...
Something just, like, touched the back of my leg. Like, didn't straight, like touch, like, the back of my leg. Like
Grab
that.
the back of your leg?
Yeah, like, got the back of... In, like, metal boots. Like, heavy boots.
It sounded like marching.
Yeah.
Your torch is doing it again, and then it stops. Then the next thing you get touched on the back of your leg or
like
grabbed.
Something did like that on the back of my leg.
That was somebody marching around.
Yeah.
Literally, right, let's see if I can demonstrate it. It was on this concrete like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly what it sounded like.
The footsteps stop, and in the silence that follows, something grabs the back of Lai's leg. She says it the instant it happens. No pause, no hesitation. Something just grabbed the back of my leg, not a brush, not a graze, a grab, like a hand, she says, or something wearing heavy boots reaching out from wherever it had been standing all along. Luke from Outdoor Boys is deep in the mountains of Alaska. It's only September, but the storm that arrived doesn't know that. It came early, it came hard, and it came with the kind of weight that turns a hiking trip into something else entirely. Luke is alone up here, cold, soaking wet, and the temperature is still dropping. The trail is narrow, soft underfoot, and already deteriorating. His pants are beginning to soak through, and in conditions like these, that detail matters more than almost anything else. Wet clothing and falling temperatures isn't discomfort, it's the beginning of a clock.
Luke here with the Outdoor Boys YouTube channel, and I'm up in the mountains of Alaska, and the weather is trying to kill me. I got hit with a serious winter snowstorm in the middle of September, and I'm having to seek shelter in a survival cabin to stay warm. I'm cold and I'm wet, but I'm having quite the adventure. Well, I've got good news and I've got bad news. The bad news is that it's cold and wet, and it's probably gonna dump snow on me tonight. The good news is I've got the trail all to myself. So since I'm all by my lonesome, I'm gonna turn on my tracking on my Garmin InReach Mini so my wife knows where I am.
He pushes through 6 miles of rain and slush. His fingers go numb somewhere along the way, but he holds on to his only dry pair of gloves, saving them for when he stops, if he can find somewhere to stop. The berries along the trail are frozen solid. The temperature sits at 33 degrees and isn't climbing.
My pants are getting wet. I can start to feel it soak through right there. I'm breaking the main rule of big boy survival. Don't wet your pants. Look at that water. That is so clear. Gorgeous. There's mile number 4. Check out this beaver pond. This is the beaver den. It's hollow inside. And there's usually like a little hole down in there where the beaver comes up underwater, and then he can hang out inside. This right here is the beaver's food pile. These are all willows that he's gnawed off and stored in front of his house for wintertime. When ice covers the pond, he'll go down underneath the ice and grab food from underneath the ice and bring it into his den.
Then the camera battery dies. He has to pull it out with his teeth. His hands are too far gone to manage it. He's moving through boulders now, picking his way across slick rock in the dark, limbs heavy and unresponsive, every step requiring more concentration than it should. A fall here isn't just inconvenient. A fall here could end this, and then, through the whiteout, a shape, small, angular, a survival cabin, barely visible in the fading light. He's never been so glad to see 4 walls and a roof in his life.
My battery just died. My hands are so cold I had to use my teeth to get it out. This is getting a bit much. I need to find some shelter. My hands get too cold. I can't light my stove or set up my tent. You know, do all those real important things. Oh, there's a ptarmigan right there. That's a rock ptarmigan as opposed to a willow ptarmigan. The rock ptarmigan live up here in the rocky parts of the mountains. They're a little smaller and they make a different sound. Look, there's a ptarmigan right there. I knew I should have brought the 22. Having to pick my way through these boulders is taking so much time. I gotta be careful I don't fall down. Oh, I am exhausted. My limbs are numb. It's slick. It's getting dark. It's really easy for me to take a bad fall here. I've got to be careful. Oh, I finally get to go downhill a little bit. Oh, look at that. There's a cabin. Oh, how do I get down there? I've never been so glad to see shelter. It's just in the nick of time. Sun is gonna set here in less than an hour. Slow is fast, fast is slow. Oh. 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 That one hurt a little bit.
Inside the mountaineering shelter, the work of getting warm begins. Hot water bottles pressed against his body, wet base layers that still need to dry out. He gets a meal together, pork chili quesadilla, and eats while his core temperature slowly climbs back to something functional. Outside, the snow doesn't stop. By the time he's settled in for the night, a full foot has buried the trail behind him.
I'm super hungry and I want to cook some dinner, but I'm just gonna sit in this bag until I feel warm. Once my body feels nice and warm, then I'll go make dinner. Gonna eat a little snack while I sit here and warm up. I got some smoked alligator gar from our trip to Louisiana. Got some dates. Well, it took a while, but I'm feeling warm again. My base layers and underwear are still pretty wet, but it's warm. That's a lot better. But I think I need to make some dinner. It is getting really late. Oh, it is cold in here. All right, we're gonna make some quesadillas. Oh, it goes so much better when your fingers work. Pork chili verde, we're gonna stuff inside.
Morning arrives cold and unforgiving. Luke takes stock of what he's working with, and the picture isn't good. Fuel is nearly gone. Ahead of him, the route to the original destination requires a 2,000-foot climb over a frozen saddle coated in a foot of ice and snow. He makes the call. Mission abandoned. Turn back. It's the right decision. And in the mountains, knowing when to turn back is its own kind of survival skill.
You know, it's nice to just sit here and not be wet and cold. Oh, I'm really trying to think hard about what to do next. Originally, I was planning on spending 3 days hiking through the mountains, and I was going to go to the crash site of a B-29 bomber. Last summer, I did a 2-day hike to that crash site, and it was really cool, and I've wanted to go back ever since. But to get there, you've got to go over 2 glaciers and around this mountain. And there's a big problem. Let me show you. If I want to go to the bomber crash site, I've got to climb 2,500 vertical feet up over that saddle. And there's a foot of ice and snow on those rocks.
The descent brings rain, real rain now, pressing down on him for the last stretch. 3 miles left to the car. He moves fast, watching his final dry layers, pushing to make it back before the cold finds its way through to the last barrier he has left.
Oh, I lost my sunshine and it's starting to rain properly. I'm glad I got off that mountain. I bet it's snowing like the devil up there. 3 miles to go. There you go, 1 mile. If I hurry up, I might make it to my car before my underwear gets wet.
He gets there, just. The margin was thin, but he made it back. Mighty Mouse runs a small channel built around 2 things, gym content and the occasional camping trip. This time he headed into the woods with a new companion, his puppy Belle, out in the forest for the first time.
There's a gear loadout shot, maybe. Got my new Silky, hopefully tucked back there, yep. That big orange thing. And then a little Belle. And I don't think I'll really go that much in, but I'm hoping that there's water. If there's not water, we may have to go all the way down. But my pack is definitely pretty heavy right now. I think everything still pretty well on there. Yeah.
He hiked until he found a spot that worked, set up his tarp, and started gathering rocks to build out a fire pit.
Okay. And then what I'm gonna try to do is just get this started. Come on, there we go.
For a while, everything was exactly what a camping trip should be. Calm, easy, nothing out of place. But once night fell, that feeling started to shift.
She definitely seems a little tired and kind of scared, maybe. I don't know. Is your nail okay? I hope she didn't hurt it. No, I think she's fine. It's dirt. Definitely hear some animals like coyotes or something. I'm not sure what that's about. But it's 5:36. And that's going pretty good so far. Oh no, bro.
The woods filled with sound, multiple animals calling back and forth, coyotes, maybe wolves. It was hard to say for certain. There was something genuinely unsettling about it. Not just one animal out there, but several. Even Belle picked up on it, growing visibly uneasy as the calls continued. At some point, the noise just stopped, cut off completely, and that's when he decided to cook something. With that many animals somewhere out in the dark around him, it wasn't exactly the safest call.
It's not like super done. Probably done just enough.
The sounds came back while he was eating. He pushed through it anyway, finished his food, and settled in for the night. The howling continued for hours, on and off, somewhere out past the tree line. He got lucky. Whatever was out there, the smell of his food never drew it in, not to him and not to Belle. By morning, the forest had gone quiet again, calm, like nothing had happened at all. He packed up, and he and Belle made it back home safe with nothing worse than a long night behind them. Nick is a camper from Alberta, Canada, and his channel reflects exactly the kind of person he is. Genuine, straightforward, and willing to put himself in genuinely uncomfortable situations just to see what happens. He travels to remote locations across the wilderness, sometimes for a single night, sometimes for much longer. Solo, almost always. His content is honest in a way that's hard to fake. In this particular video, something found him out there that he wasn't ready for.
Alright guys, welcome back to another adventure. I'm sure you can tell right off the bat, this one's a little bit different. I was hiking recently, and I'm not gonna lie, I felt slightly disoriented, slightly lost. And it got me thinking, what's kind of like the minimum amount of gear that I would need in order to, you know, survive the night out in the mountains and in the winter, right? So that's what we're gonna test out today. Just have a few things with me. We'll find a spot and show you guys what I got. But yeah, it's dark and I guess I'm lost.
The premise going in was simple. Head into the mountains in winter and test the bare minimum gear needed to survive a night outdoors. Not comfort camping, pure survival baseline. He set up and got to work, and for a while, everything tracked normally. Nothing unusual, nothing worth noting. Then he stopped to reposition the camera, and that's when he heard it. He didn't pick the camera back up. He didn't narrate what had just happened. He just got to his feet, grabbed his things, and walked straight back to the car, driven by something more immediate than a decision, more like a reflex. He sat in the car for over 10 minutes with the engine running, listening, recording again but saying nothing, just waiting, and then it came again.
Okay, yeah, so we've had a bit of a change of plans here. Little bits happened since the last clip. I'm currently driving as far as possible from that camping spot. I'm gonna pull over and I'll let you guys know what happened. I'm out of here. I am out of here. What the heck is that? I'm like, I'm done. I am done. I grabbed my stuff and I literally sprinted to the car. Like the hair, when people say the hair on the back of your neck stands up, I've never actually felt that before. I literally felt every hair on the back of my neck just, oh.
The most likely explanation is an animal. Mountain lions and bobcats are well documented for producing sounds that can stop a person dead. A high, sustained cry that carries far further than it should and registers somewhere deep and instinctive before the brain catches up. This one was deeper though, possibly a deer or elk in distress, possibly something else entirely. Whatever it was, it produced a physical reaction in a man who has spent serious time alone in the wilderness. The kind of reaction that bypasses logic and goes straight to the body. Nick is an experienced camper. That's what makes this worth paying attention to. It was almost certainly an animal, but hearing something like that, alone, in the dark, in winter mountains, when you have no reference point for what it is, the part of your brain that keeps you alive doesn't wait around for a rational explanation. It just moves. And that's it for tonight's video. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. New videos drop every week and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Drop a comment below. Which story got to you the most? Or share your own if something like this has ever happened to you. Stay safe out there. I'll see you in the next one.